Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Oasis Focus on Finance show. I'm your host Shafiq Morton. And as always, it's great to be with you, and this is our last show for 2015. Today we're going to have a look at the year that was. Power outages, public protest, the rand and so on. However, there have been those who've stood out and stood afar and taken a more interesting look at the South African economic landscape and its challenges. The McKinsey Global Institute, for example, has come out with a report that says if South Africa pays attention to certain sectors of the economy, gets them going, we can increase our economy by the year 2030 to the tune of 1 trillion rand, and in the process create nearly 3.5 million jobs. So, although it's been a challenging year, it's not all doom and gloom. Our special guest in today's show is Ebrahim, CEO of Oasis, who looks at things not destructively but constructively, and who as an investment manager looks at the world from a position where we can all benefit in the long financial term. In other words, set us on the path to financial freedom. Very quickly, if you want to contact us, our details will be on screen during the show, and should you want to watch any reruns, YouTube will get you there, www.oasiscrescent.com. But Mr. Ebrahim, assalamu alaikum, welcome to the show.
Wa alaikum salam, Shafiq. It's a year that's gone by very quickly.
It certainly has flown. Now you sit in a position where you look behind the scenes. We've had a blizzard of headlines talking about the bad things, the negative things. But in your position, you take a step back and you look at things differently, don't you? Taking a look at that perspective that you have, your bird's eye view of the world. What about South Africa? What about our future?
Let's look at the pessimists. And the pessimists have some points. And when you take a look from behind the scenes and the shapes of the South Africans, we're becoming rounder and we're becoming less fit. And what that really tells you, we're consuming too much, okay? And we're investing too little. And just that very simple way, if you look at the split between governments, what government does, it's basically spending too much wages and too little on investment and infrastructure. So we run short of electricity and water, but we're getting fatter. And when we're getting fatter as a nation, obesity, high blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, all raises our costs. Now, what we really need to do is we've got to slim up. That means we've got to kind of consume less, not as only as individuals, but as a nation. We have to invest for the long term. And when we do invest for the long term, we create the framework for a healthy body, a healthy country, a vibrant environment. And so the pessimists have a point, but very often they only look at the world through one eye. And we have to look at the world through both eyes, forward, and have peripheral vision. And when you look at South Africa, we most probably located in the most beautiful part of the world, strategically at the tip of Africa. Africa is in the center of the world. We call it the central time zone. So if you want to go east and west, you could only really go two ways. You could go through the spice route, or the Silk Route as they call it. That's the Mediterranean. And alternatively, you have to come through the tip of Africa. So strategically, from a location point of view, it's the most amazing place to be. From a environment point of view, we've been provided with the most, probably the best climate of any other place in the world. It's very, very moderate, which means that we have lots of good sunlight, good vegetables, good fruit, good animals, so good meats, good fish. And if you can feed yourself with all of that which nature has provided, alhamdulillah, Allah has provided for us, okay? Yet what we do is we mess up the rivers and we do all the negatives to destroy that. So we just need a bit of discipline. So South Africa is going through a really tough time. We either go in the process of getting downgrades. Now you can be very pessimistic. I cannot change what I don't control. but I can change what I can control. And I can control how much I work, how much I eat, what I do, what physical exercise, how I treat nature, how I treat my family, how I treat the community. And if we all take that view, that we stop focusing on what we cannot control. We cannot control what government does. Okay? Yes, we're affected by what they do. So if there's no security, we're affected. But yet, we all we allow our homes to be burgled, and we do very, very, very little to protect our homes. Now, we as a family have taken a different view. We've spent in a way to protect our homes, to protect our businesses. It's a choice that we've made. We could have taken that money and spent it on other things, but what we've done is we've valued security, we valued the safety, we valued the comforts of knowing that we live in a secure environment. Our neighbors benefit from that, but yet we cannot provide a social service. That's not our job. My job is to look after my family and my business and our clients. And so when they get their houses burgled, and they get burgled regularly, they take no action. They're waiting for a dysfunctional state to provide it, and that's not going to happen. So to spend just a little bit less on buying that clothes or that additional burger, spend it on your safety. You know what? The quality of life you'll change if you have a safe, happy environment. Then, you know, we're now protesting about education, and we disagree with burdening students with massive loans. Burdening students, it's just the wrong start to their lives. When a young person comes out of university, they need to be given a chance, a competitive advantage, not a competitive disadvantage. They need high quality education, so they need to go to school and need to go to university. So institutions like UWC are completely dysfunctional, and they should not be supported, in my opinion, until they become functional. And the families and the students need to make sure of that. And what's happening at the moment, the families and the students are making sure that it is dysfunctional. So why would you support an institution and those people who are actually destructive? And so what have we done in education? We work very, very hard to make sure that the students, we have an impact on people's lives. So it's again taking ownership. It's making sure that young people have an advantage of being able to get the best quality education without worrying about finances, so that they can concentrate and do the very, very best academically. We provide them with an environment of mentorship. We provide them with an environment where they can actually learn during university. So by the time they complete their university studies and they come into the real world, the working world, hopefully they'll work for us and join our team. But they actually have a competitive advantage. They've been mentored. They actually have skills. They don't have debt. And they are highly educated. Now that's what we need. And we need to encourage. So that's it. We've spoken about education. We've spoken about the weather. We've spoken about security. And we'll talk about, you know, things like the weak rand creates opportunities. But, you know, I'll come on to that in a second.
Now, Adam, you've mentioned a lot of positive scenarios and ways of bridging them. There are certain constraints, though, in our overall economy. How do we meet the challenges of those constraints in the light that you say that there's certain things that we simply can't control?
So the challenges are man-made, and they're basically twofold. They're external and they're internal. So the external factors, we're a big exporter because we have basic commodities to places like China, and they're slowing down and they're changing from investment. You know, historically, they're the opposite of what we are. Mm-hmm. They've overinvested and underspent. So they, you know, you cannot be all work and no play. You need a happy balance between the two. And so they've been forced to rebalance. In fact, they've even introduced the second child, allowing the second child. Imagine being told you can have one child. In a place like South Africa, we have the freedom of choice. And you cannot believe how valuable that is. So those external factors will affect us, and then the internal factors. And the internal factors are really the breakdown of state-owned enterprises, whether it's water, electricity, SAA, amongst others. So we're not getting value for money on our taxes. We're not getting value for money by the delivery of water or electricity or SAA. You know, SAA was most probably the best airline in the world, competing with Emirates and Turkish Airlines and Etihad and Qatar Airlines. Yet, because of they didn't balance consumption and investment, their cost base became uncompetitive. They closed down the most lucrative route between Cape Town and London. Okay, we now have to pay the most expensive prices on the oldest aeroplanes, and we don't have enough capacity. So what are the things that we can do? We have the most amazing environment. People want to come here. So the rand at 14.50 or 21.22 to the pound, $20 for a fantastic meal, globally it could cost you $100 to $150. So it's 1/5 at least cheaper than the rest of the world.
Adam, can we just hold that thought just for a second? You are watching the Oasis Focus on Finance show. It's time for our break. Our special guest, Adam Ebrahim, CEO of Oasis. We're having a look at 2015 and the way out, as it were. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back right after this.